David Oyelowo is here from the new film Captive. And you know, we have a special connection in Atlanta because, of course, it all happened right here.
That's right.
And you are playing Brian Nichols in the film. The notorious guy who basically just went on a rampage in Atlanta. You know, a lot of people here look at the story from the perspective of what we saw on the news, but what is the difference in the film?
Well, that's exactly why we made a film. You know, you can watch the news and you have a perspective on it, but it's not the full picture, obviously. And what we try to do is take you behind the headlines. And you know, the blank spot for a lot of people is after Brian Nichols killed 4 people that morning. He was on trial for rape. He broke out of the courthouse jail, killed a judge, killed a stenographer, killed a sheriff's deputy and a customs officer, and then took this lady, Ashley Smith, hostage for 7 hours. She was a meth addict who'd lost custody of her daughter, struggling in her own way. But those 7 hours is where there's a blank spot. You know, no one really knows what went on there. We know that she read to him from Rick Warren's The Purpose-Driven Life, but something miraculous happened there. You know, there is no reason on paper why he shouldn't have killed Ashley Smith as well, and ended up going out in a blaze of glory, shooting up a bunch of cops and probably getting killed himself. But instead, he let her go, gave himself up, and it was actually the point beyond which she got her life back. She never touched meth again. She gained custody of her daughter back. She's now a spokesperson for Celebrate Recovery and has helped thousands of people who are struggling with drugs. How did this happen? That's what we wanted to take a look at, because as a Christian myself, I truly believe that the light shines brightest in the dark, and this was a dark place and light came out of it, and so that's what we tried to show with the film.
Wow, well, you're an amazing person to play the role.
Thank you.
And you know, how do you feel in terms of the movie humanizing Brian Nichols? Because I know a lot of folks were really, you know, angry about the lives that he took, and a lot of people just continue to see him as a monster. Do you think that the film would change people's perspective about him?
Well, you know, one of the trickiest things for me was I wasn't interested in, and I don't think it's right to try to exonerate Brian Nichols for what he did. You know, there are families still in bits over what he did and the lives he took. But you know, having said that, something happened in that apartment that night. I met Brian Nichols' mother last week, and I'd had a connection with her before, but she said something snapped in him. And somehow, when he got into that apartment, Ashley Smith diffused this bomb. Something, he was stopped in his tracks, and I think it was the humanity that she treated him with. She treated him as a human being as opposed to a monster. And as I say, he is serving, I would say, the just punishment for what he did. He's serving multiple life sentences, and he will never come out of prison. But in that moment, the path he was on was stopped, and Ashley Smith actually attributes part of her salvation to him. Without him holding up a mirror to the downward spiral she was on, she would probably never have found her way out. And that, like the Bible says, you know, God causes all things to work for the good of those who love him. Even Brian Nichols was used in Ashley Smith's life, and I just think that that's something that's so extraordinary when you think about what he had actually just done that day.
Yeah, that is powerful, because probably a piece of her saw herself in him and where she could be if she didn't turn her life around. Now, I imagine that you didn't have the opportunity to meet with Brian Nichols. So how, or what did you do to get yourself in character? Because a lot of times for movies, actors kind of, especially when it's based off of a real story, they kind of meet the person, study their life, try to understand their mannerisms. How was it for you to get into that role?
Yeah, you're right. I tried to meet him, but there was no way. You know, he's serving the kind of sentence whereby access of that kind is not allowed. But Ashley Smith was with us on set for a lot of the shooting of the movie. I spoke to her a lot while we were shooting, and she remembers it like it happened yesterday. As you can imagine, a traumatic event, but something that she will never forget. And you know, she was my main source of information. But you know, obviously there was a lot of news coverage. I saw a lot of tapes of the trial itself, and so there was enough out there for me to put this character together.
Absolutely. Well, we have David Oyelowo in the studio here, and the big movie Captive in theaters September 18th. Super excited to really see the backstory about an event that happened right here in Atlanta. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.